Thank you. Again, I'm sorry about the late notice on this coffee. November kind of snuck up on me, but I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your time. I do miss the opportunity that we had, that I think we all kind of took for granted, to be in a room together, to have these coffees. So you attending via Zoom is still meaningful, and I appreciate it, but I do miss actually speaking with you and seeing you in the mornings. So I do have a few items that I'd like to discuss today, but first I just wanted to recap some of the things that have been happening in the upper school and school-wide that your kids have been involved in. And student government and Mr. Ronquillo have really done a great job so far this year, trying to make this year as normal as possible for our students, and trying to have as many activities as we're able to have in a safe manner. And so we were able to have our senior sunrise event, and then conclude that at the end of the year for our seniors with the senior sunset. They had a great time, and the pictures are amazing. And I hope you were able to see some of that on our social media. We also had what would have been our homecoming week. We had a number of dress days. Our student council students came in on the weekend and did some decorating in the hallways to make it seem like it normally does during that week. So they had a number of theme days and dress days to correspond with that. They had a number of lunchtime activities, and then they finished it off, not with a dance, but with the Monstover movie night up on the field, which was run by student council, Mr. Ronquillo, and a number of our faculty chaperones. And Greg from our tech department helped to run that. And that was a great time. Students didn't want to go home at the end of it. And then lastly, last week, we had a school-wide trunk or treat, which was our version of Halloween here on campus. And most of the participation came out of the upper school, frankly, and a lot of our clubs and student groups decided to decorate trucks and cars so that our students from all divisions could come through and get some candy and have a little fun. And there was a DJ, and so that was a great activity. So we are trying our best to make this enjoyable for our students school-wide. Our students are also involved with the other divisions and doing some tutoring via Zoom and that kind of thing, so that we can be as connected as possible in a time that's incredibly disconnected. In addition, our college counseling department is working tirelessly with our students from all grade levels, but in particular with our seniors. We just had our November 1st deadline for students who are applying early decision, early action, et cetera. Our teachers have been writing recommendation letters and working really hard to best represent our students to the colleges to which they're applying. Our college counseling department is also holding a number of events, and I hope you're able to see those and attend as is appropriate for the age level and grade level of your child. And so they have another one, I believe tomorrow, they have a coffee, but they've been holding a number of events, evening and morning, grade level specific. So please attend those and get as much information and ask as many questions as possible. But always feel free to reach out to our college counselors to get information about events, to just get personal information about where you should be in the process. I know as a parent, this is kind of nerve-wracking, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So please reach out and just to put a name to a student and make that communication, even if you're a parent of a younger student. It's totally appropriate to do that here in the upper school, so we welcome it. We also have a number of virtual college visits, and you've probably seen those all over the memos. Because they're virtual, we're able to do so many more of them. So there are a lot of those on the Monday memos, and I hope that you're speaking with your junior, if you have a junior or a senior, about attending those and getting information. There are over 5,000 colleges in the United States alone that we would love for our students to apply to. And there are great colleges that they've never heard of. And so we really want them to do that in investigative work, and you as parents as well, as you're invested in this process. So please reach out to our co-directors of college counseling and get as much information as possible, and encourage your students to attend those virtual events. We are allowing them time and space here on campus to do those visits if they're here on campus. So they're welcome to do that. I wanted to also kind of transition and talk about academics a little bit. And again, as we go, please feel free to put your questions into the Q&A portion here, and I'll be happy to answer those either throughout or at the end of what I wanted to discuss today. So as regards academics, you know, I'm sure that quarter one grades have just posted. We were really happy to get through the first quarter pretty, knock on wood, unscathed. Our students have done an amazing job. Our teachers have really gone above and beyond in assisting students. We've done the best job we've ever done with student support, knowing that we needed to. Teachers amended their grade weighting policies, their late policies. They've really worked with students as regards communication and parents to let us know when things aren't turned in, when something needs to be redone. More teachers now than ever have allowed students revision even on small assignments, because that's incredibly important to the learning. This isn't just about grades, it's really about skills and content. And so teachers have been allowing students opportunities to revise and revise and revise, because for students, of course, they want the grade. They want the education, but they don't quite know it yet. So as teachers, we've got to kind of trick them into that a little bit. But the incentives have never been better for students to really succeed. So teachers have been incredibly supportive. Advisors have assisted in that as well as Jessica Stewart working virtually with our tech, and Ms. Hirsch working with our students, especially our remote students, every week meeting with them. And so the support has been there. The students have done a really great job. I think they're still more than ever appreciative to be here. They come in the building every morning smiling under the masks. You can see it in their eyes. They're happy to be in the building. They're happy to be in classes and engaging with teachers and with their peers. So the academics is going really well. If you have any concerns or questions about the Q1 grades, please reach out to the teachers directly. That's always the first step. If your child could be doing better, please commend your children for doing as well as they're doing. I've just gone through all of the grade reports from Q1, and I'm really pleased. Students will have my support as well. Please know that at the end of the day, from 3 to 4, I know I sent this in an email, but I want to reiterate that we have opportunities for students to stay in the building that extra hour after school today to get extra help. I'll be in the library every day from 3 to 4. I can help students. I'm going to be starting some writing workshops in the afternoon, but teachers are in their classrooms with office hours every day. And so they do their remote meetings at that time, but they also have an open door policy where students can go in and get extra help. So I know initially at the beginning of the year, we wanted students to leave the building as soon as possible so we could start our cleaning protocols, but those don't begin until 4 o'clock. So we have that extra hour where students can meet with teachers, get extra help. They can come into the library if they just want a quiet place to study. That's available to them. And we also have student tutors here on campus that we can arrange times and days for our students to get help. So please understand, if the Q1 grades were not maybe what you wanted them to be or your child wanted them to be, there is help here and there is opportunity. So we are here and we'd like them to get that assistance. And so in addition to that, I know that some of our parents had concerns, especially new parents, about the first 2 weeks of Q2 grades not posting, where the view was limited for students and teachers. And please understand that we do that intentionally. The first 2 weeks of every quarter, we block the grade view because the grades are unnaturally skewed at that point, either in a positive direction or a negative direction. And we don't want anyone feeling overconfident or freaking out, frankly, if the grades are only being based on 1 or 2 small assignments or 1 major assignment and nothing else to help with the weighting distribution. So that is intentional. But yesterday we did, as this is the 3rd week of Q2, we did open those grades. So parents now have access to see how your child is doing so far in the quarter. And then understand that the quarters weight 40 and 40. And then the semester exam is 20% of the overall semester grade. The other thing that's really important is that those report cards that went out are only for you. It's only a mid-semester kind of check-in point. So the quarter grades do not go on the transcript. They will combine with Q2 in the semester exam to make the semester grade, and that's the semester grades that you will see on the transcripts and the colleges will see on the transcripts. So this is a good point to assess so far the success of your student, and make sure that you have that conversation with them about what they're doing well in. Please don't only focus on the negative. I know as parents, our eyes immediately go to the lowest grade on the report card, but understand that every one of those high grades on that report card, those were earned as well. And that was some work for your child to do. So commend them on what they're doing well, support them. Positive reinforcement is incredibly important. And then let's have positive conversations about the things that we can improve upon. So that's my best parental advice for today. But the academics are going really well, and just don't freak out about Q1 grades because we need to use them to figure out what we need to do in Q2. So that's really what this check-in point is for. If you have any specific concerns, again, reach out to the teacher, the advisor. If you have general concerns or multiple concerns, please reach out to me. This is why I'm here. So I look forward to those conversations and to working with your student. I have students in my office almost every day, and we talk about the experience here in addition to the academics. And so I am here to support them and to support you as parents. I know that we are incredibly disconnected this year. So please don't feel like you're banned from this building. You're welcome in this building via Zoom and via emails and phone calls. And we still need to partner in this. You're not out there just in the wind. So please know that I'm here for you as well. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which is something that I mentioned in an email and I shared with you that I was engaging in emails and conversation with your students about, is academic integrity. This is one of my big topics I wanted to have be the discussion for today, because it's a really big concern every year, but it's a greater concern this year because of our emphasis and reliance, frankly, upon technology. And so this has always been a concern even before technology, but of course it's quadrupled because of the ease of access to information, frankly. And so I have been speaking to your students about it. We as administrators and teachers have been continually in conversation with your children. And I would just ask that you engage in that conversation with them as well. As I've always stated, and I think I said just a minute ago, we partner in this academic and overall experience. And part of that is integrity. Part of that is involving the choices that our kids make. And so so you're aware, and because you're not in the building and maybe your kids don't come home and tell you everything, at the very beginning of every year, we do have an assembly for our students that is run by the Honor Code Committee. And if you're curious about the Honor Code Committee, there is some information in our student parent handbook about what they do, who that committee is comprised of, and really what their function is and what the disciplinary process is. And so the first thing to understand is that good kids make mistakes. And the other thing to understand, and I tell the students this all the time, sometimes bad choices are made because students lack confidence. And I tell the students every year, especially our freshmen, that they wouldn't be here if they didn't belong here. And so there isn't a reason to lack that confidence, and we can help with that. So every student can do the work that we're asking them to do, but there are temptations out there. Sometimes time management is an issue. We know we're dealing with teenagers, and I hope that you understand that when we deal with your children, we do it in the most effective and honest and understanding way possible. It also is important to understand that when mistakes are made, it's important that they're made here because the consequences are greater later in life. And we can offer the support here to help our students through these struggles because it's not just about punishment. It's about awareness, first and foremost. This is a topic of conversation. It starts with the syllabus in every class. Teachers talk to their students about honesty and integrity and what that means in an academic setting. And we talk about these in advisory pretty much all the time because we want your students to be sick of this topic, frankly. And we want to make sure that they understand what it means and how to avoid it. I bring this up because, as I mentioned in my email, we have had more cases of academic dishonesty in the upper school this year so far in the quarter than we have had in entire years previous. So it's an issue that we knew that we would have to combat. It was an issue that we knew we would encounter. And so we tried to be incredibly proactive with the students. We thought that was the best way to move into this new mode of teaching. Again, we're doing a lot of the traditional stuff we've been able to keep in our curriculum. But again, the emphasis on technology makes it just too easy. And so many of our classes are run with computers open. We have students that are hybrid here in the building. They're hybrid at home. We have students that are completely remote. And so we depend entirely on technology this year. So students are in the classrooms. We are running them through Canvas, the platform that we use for information and for so students have their computers open. We have less testing this year than we've had in years past because the mode of teaching needs to change a little bit. Tests are a little bit more difficult as major assessments. And so we have a lot more projects this year, which I think is an incredible benefit. Sometimes we refer to this as the pandemic lemonade here in the upper school. There are benefits to some of the changes that we've been forced into due to the COVID situation. They're not all bad. Less emphasis on tests is a really good one, I think. And so we have a lot more projects. We do a lot more collaborative assignments in our classes. But there are assessments that students will still feel the temptation to over collaborate on. Teachers are incredibly specific about what collaboration means so that you're aware. Students know what they can and cannot do. They know what they should not do. But the information is out there. If a student is writing a paper, if a student has any kind of math problem, there is a website that is dedicated to every math textbook that has ever been published in this country with all of the answers and teacher keys. So we know that these things are out there. We run every one of our essays through, we ask our students to run their essays through a plagiarism checker called turnitin.com. They use this at the college level as well. And so part of this is we're preparing them for college, but more than anything, this is about letting the students understand that their own original thinking is what is valued here. We know that they're worried about grades, but we're trying to get them to worry more about the choices that they make. Our teachers are so understanding that if a student comes in a panic about a test, that teacher's going to work with that student. They need to communicate. They need to be proactive rather than reactive and negatively reactive. So please have these conversations with your children at home. Overall, our students are incredibly ethical, which we appreciate and we need to reinforce and support, and we're aware of that. And again, we have these policies because our diploma means something, because these grades do mean something. They need to be earned, and they need to be earned ethically. And if we were a school that turned a blind eye to these things, it would be unfair to our students who are making the right choices and who are doing the necessary thinking and work that it takes to have academic integrity. So it's something that we reinforce in a positive way, but also it's something that we must address as a school if we encounter students making the wrong choice. But I want you to understand as parents that we care about your children. We care about their experience here, so we need to teach them, but there need to be consequences to actions. And so the Honor Code Committee is comprised of a group of faculty and students, because it's incredibly important that they understand that they have peers that support them, that understand the situation that they're in, that this isn't an adversarial relationship between students and teachers or faculty advisors. That really isn't the point. There's confidentiality that is respected amongst this committee. And so it's very much to nurture our students through the process of what it means to do something wrong and to learn from it, frankly. So there are consequences, and those consequences will be decided upon by this committee, but also with some oversight with Mr. Ronquillo, with the head of the Honor Code Committee, as well as with me, and sometimes in consultation with Mr. Gregerson. So this is nothing that's done lightly. It's something that we take incredibly seriously, and always because we want students to understand the importance of this. So if you have any questions as regards those issues, I wish that you would speak to your kids, to their advisor. If you want to reach out to me, please, I welcome this conversation. And so I think that was all I wanted to say on the Honor Code Committee on the academic integrity issues. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about also involves a different kind of integrity, frankly. I think you've probably heard a lot of the stuff that's been going on in our community with some of our students at other schools, with some of our other schools in general, but the COVID pandemic is not going away, and it still needs to be a topic of our conversation moving forward. And so I have been made aware of a number of things, and we talked about this a little bit at our last coffee. Some of the parties that were happening was just around homecoming time, and we talked about the fact that we as parents want our children to have as normal an experience right now as possible, and the frank reality that things aren't normal and we need to face that. And we also need to have our children face that. We as parents want to give our kids the opportunity to have fun, to be social. I mean, and that's really a lot of the reason why we as a school are open. because we want students in the building interacting face to face with their peers, with their teachers. But it's the weekend and the evening activities, frankly, that are also unfortunately something that we all are involved in, each other's business, frankly. I am made privy to a number of things that happen on the weekend, and although I don't want to be, it's always been part of our handbook that what our students do, whether on property or off, reflects upon the school. And this year it's even more so because we care as regards the safety of our entire community, about the choices that our families make. And so the first thing I want to say is that I have had so many parents this year reach out to me just asking questions, reaching out to Kim, our pandemic coordinator, Kim Jacobs, about travel, about parents who are frankly frontline workers. We have a number of our parents that are in the medical community that are exposed to these risks every day in their profession. And of course, live in households with our students. So these questions come up all the time. I appreciate the questions. We're working through the answers as best we can. We have had some exposure in other divisions. We have had some cases in other divisions, and we are able to quarantine appropriately those groups of students and ask certain people to stay home, out of an abundance of caution, frankly. And in the upper school, we have been very lucky. We've been very fortunate to be able to be open because, as you know, and as we've discussed in the upper school, we're not able to cohort. So our students have exposure to a lot of other students. Our faculty have exposure to a lot of students throughout the day. And our faculty teach different grade levels. A number of our teachers are not just grade level teachers. And so we have common areas for where our students congregate for lunch and snack and these kinds of things. We have outdoor spaces available. We are trying our best, and we walk around the building all day asking our students to distance, to make sure that their masks are covering their faces. And again, our students are doing an amazing job, and I want to commend them for what they're doing. They're working really hard because I think they understand the value of being here. What is disheartening, however, is what's happening on the weekends, is the number of parties that are on my radar, that the parents are reporting to me, that students, frankly, are coming to me with concerns. Not because, and it used to be because they didn't get invited to a certain party or they felt excluded, but this time it's because they know that their friends are engaging in activities and they feel pressured maybe even to engage in these activities that they know they shouldn't. The rules that we follow at school should be the rules at home. And I know how difficult that this is for our kids because they see their friend and their friend looks fine. And I did say at the beginning of the year, in a way to scare them, but also to get them to think that we have to assume and we have to operate under the assumption that everybody in this building has COVID. And it is a scary thing, and it's hyperbolic to say that. But if you think in that manner, you will be safe. Someone can be in this building and look fine, have no symptoms, but still carry the virus and spread it to others. That's how we have to operate. That's how we have to ask our students to operate. So your best friend is still your best friend. But if you are engaging in activities on the weekend with your friend without masks, without any kind of testing, without any kind of certainty about anything, then we're all at risk. So I'm concerned about what happens on the weekend, not because I want to be in the business of your family, of your child or in your business, but that's different this year. I am involved. We're all involved because we are members of a community and we have this social contract. So parents throwing parties, parents engaging in parties, parents letting their children do the same, we have to stop. It cannot happen. I was made aware of an email that was sent by I believe it was the principal over at Bishop Gorman. And in that email, the principal, you could hear the frustration in the tone of the words that he used. But that frustration is real, and a lot of it was directed towards the students. And our students, a lot of them can drive, and a number of them can vote. And so they are adults, and we like to treat them as such. But we also have parents involved in these decisions and these choices that are being made. And I just want to, as this is a parents' coffee, bring to your attention to that. I need to remind you that we have to be responsible, and we have to teach our children what responsibility is. And yes, we want them to have experiences. We want them to have a normal life. The frank reality is that this is not normal. And in order for our school to remain open, in order for us to continue to do what we're doing and what we've been able to do for an entire quarter so far, luckily, and because we've been following these rules and these policies, we need to not lose sight of that. And we still need to have diligence, and we still need to reinforce this idea with one another. So as the academic division director, I know how lucky we are. I know how hard we have worked. And when I say we, I mean you, and I mean your kids, and I mean our teachers and our administrators. It's all of us. And I commend that good work and that communication and that diligence. But I need to remind all of us that the irresponsible behavior has to stop. Our kids are engaging in it as well. Our parents are as well. And so please, let me just remind you and ask you, implore you to not engage in this behavior, to continue to do the right thing and to reinforce this with our children. Once we get through this, their lives will be normal again, as normal as they can be, right? With this knowledge that we now have moving forward and this experience that we'll have to inform us. But parties can happen down the road, and they should, but for now they should not. And so that's what I wanted to say about that. It's happening at other schools. We've had some cases in other divisions. We're all trying our best, but we can do better. And I'm just asking that we do. And so I don't want to be entirely down and critical in this coffee, because there is a lot of good going on. Really, more than anything, I just want the good to continue. And I want to be able to do more of it in this setting and what we're able to do with our policies in place. So I have a couple questions that I will now address in the Q&A. If you have any questions based on some of this information that I've provided or some of the commentary that I've raised, please enter it now and I will get to it as we go. One parent is asking about the amount of homework that's being assigned, particularly homework on the weekend. And math, I know especially if you're from our middle school, math has always been that subject that has been allowed a pass to be assigned on the weekend because of the reinforcing, and because the math assignments are generally smaller too. And so we want those done daily so that the math concepts are being reinforced on a daily basis. If there is a particular concern about a particular teacher or a particular class, I would love for you to reach out to me separately, or maybe first to reach out to the teacher or both of us together, so that we can address this issue. But there is weekend homework. One of the things that our students have had to get used to this year is the fact that because our classes, although they're not online classes, technically we are running them as such. And so we, with our new schedule, may only have the opportunity to be face-to-face with our students twice a week in a particular class. And so the class goes on Canvas. The work has to be done otherwise. Your child might have an assignment due on a Monday if that class doesn't meet on a Monday. It's really for teachers to be consistent, for the students to have a different level of consistency. And the students have they've gotten used to it and they've gotten it down. I think it's still a little disconcerting for us as parents to have our child have something due on a day that they don't meet. But it's gotten a lot better. The kids are in the groove of it now. The teachers have been communicating tirelessly. Maybe one of the other things I should address here is the communication that happens here on campus that you're not aware of. We have meetings a lot, bi-weekly for every advisory group. And so the advisors can kind of get together and bring feedback to each other about what the students are saying in advisory, about workload in particular. And then we have grade level teacher meetings bi-weekly. And so every 9th grade teacher, for example, we have a Zoom meeting. And I'm in that meeting as the academic division director, and we talk about workload. We talk about what's due in your class, what are the major projects, how are the assessments landing with the students as regards their scheduling. And I think we've done a better job this year, kind of because we've been forced into this kind of communication, over communication really. There are some meetings where we've discussed so much that we don't have a lot to discuss. And that's, I'd rather have a meeting like that than a meeting where we can't get to everything we need to discuss. So please understand that the teachers are working with each other to make sure that the experience for the grade level students, for 9th graders, for 10th graders, for our juniors, for seniors who are in the midst of college apps, they're talking about all of these things from the level of the student experience because they have this information as advisors. They're talking to each other. We have an exam calendar that we refer to, and it doesn't just have exams on it. It's through Veracross so that you're aware. So when those things are assigned, we have papers, we have major projects. Teachers know, they can see what is assigned for students that they have in their classes. And so we're really working tirelessly to make sure that we're not overloading our students. And again, we understand that some of you have activities that you attend on the weekends. We have students that are involved in club sports still. Although, again, if we're talking about COVID policies and travel, that's a concern. But again, we have parents that are doing this and doing it right and following the protocols and doing this safely so that their child can still participate. We appreciate that, but sometimes there is still work to be done. So that's something we've tried to avoid as best we can. But if it's particular, please reach out to me. Let's see what the one of the things that if I would like to know, because I've been also, I'm in Veracross with teachers, working with department chairs in Canvas. Sometimes we've had concern about teachers making something due on a Saturday or something due on a Sunday, a major project. And so if you're a parent and you're feeling that that's taking your time away, your family time away on the weekend, that's something that we've addressed in the past, just recently really, and something we can address again. So I would like to know if there are particular circumstances. And then we have a question in the chat about non-Meadows students using our facilities, and then how this is related to our COVID policies. And so you're aware, it's not just something that's happening in our athletic complex. We do have some visitors to campus during the off hours. And so, for example, I wanted to also mention that we've been doing group tours on Saturdays of our facilities, and we are still in, the admissions process, and we're already planning for next year, and we have been planning for next year, even though it feels like this year has just started. And so when we bring strangers, if you will, or non-community members to campus, we do so in an incredibly safe manner. And so on the weekends, we are doing tours. We have our mock trial team has guest lawyers come as part of our mock trial advisor team. And so we ask them, because they're non-Meadows community technically, that they come to campus after hours. And so they will come in the evenings at 6:30 and use our facilities. And our facilities director is aware of that, and all of those areas are deep cleaned afterwards. And so the same thing is happening with our athletic complex. And so part of what we do here is that we do have students and other people that are part of our human performance program with our trainer, but that all happens off hours. And that's an arrangement that was made with the administration and with the facilities as well as with the athletic department. And so that is happening off hours, and that it's arranged so that the facilities are thoroughly cleaned before our students or other members of our community go into the facilities. So we're very careful about that. I appreciate the question. And so if your child is here and they see someone in our facilities that they don't recognize, that's really good to address that, because when that is happening, please understand that we need to be made aware of it. In this case, we are very aware of it. We're very diligent about who comes to our campus and when, and then what happens, what our protocols are in order to manage that. So far, those are the only two questions that are in the chat. And if you have others, if you are doing some thinking and would like to reach out to me separately, or to Mr. Ronquillo or Mr. Goubert or Ms. Hirsch, please do so. Our college counselors also, I see them here in our group, so they have joined us as well. So they're very busy, but always are welcoming of questions and concerns and Zoom meetings with our parents. So please continue to be engaged in this experience, although we're not as open as a campus in allowing you here on the property, but we want you engaged maybe more so than before, because we have the opportunity electronically or virtually to do that. So at the very least, please address your specific questions to the right administrator. Again, our teachers have a welcome policy for our parents to reach out to them directly. That's usually the best place to start if there are specific class concerns. But again, things are really going great this year. I always feel a little guilty when I say that, because I know there are other schools that are not having the same experience. I know that there are other students in our community that aren't able to do what our students are able to do. And there's some guilt involved in that. There's some pride involved in what we're able to do as well. But again, we as a school are also talking about ways that we can reach out to those members of our community to do tutoring outside of our own community to help, even though we can't be in person, to discover what the meaningful ways might be that we can help others, because we are incredibly fortunate. And the more fortunate you are, I think the more important it is to direct your good fortune and have it, spread to others. So those are ways that we're dealing with student council, with our community clubs or groups, with community service and those kinds of things. So I hope you're feeling good about what we're doing as well. I really appreciate the parent support that we've been getting. I've never had more emails in my inbox, and so many of them are from you, just extolling the virtues and the really good things that are happening with your children in this environment. So I thank you for your support and your involvement as best you can be involved, and your concerns. Again, that's why we're here, is to address those. And so kudos to you as parents. It's not easy having your child either be remote or come every other day. In some ways, this has been a benefit to families, and so I'm glad that we've been able to do that, to provide this experience for you as parents as well. So again, unfortunately, the door is not always open, but the emails and the Zooms are. So I appreciate your contributions, your support, and your concerns, and I welcome them. So thank you for your time this morning. And I know it's not easy, even many of you are at work Zooming and just listening to this in the background. I think one of our parent teachers is in our faculty lounge right now listening to this as she's working on some grading. So however you're able to participate in this coffee, your time is appreciated, and your thoughtfulness. So thank you very much, and we'll do this again soon. Have a great day.